5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. How about that Goomby Ortiz playing? He's tearing it up, man. Goomby's our main man. All right, everybody. We are here high in Highlands, New Jersey. We are about to start another fun-filled, adventure-filled, action-packed day of Live with Neve. We got some great guests on today. We have a friend of mine and a former graduate of Full Sail University, the man, the myth, the legend, Jose Blanco. 30 years experience in the music biz, 2-time Grammy and 10-time Latin Grammy award-winning mastering engineer, including Best Engineered Album in 2015. He's had over 92 projects in the last 20 years of his mastering career. The backstory is Jose and I met at Full Sail back in the 90s, and if it hadn't have been for him, gosh knows, I probably wouldn't have graduated. His largesse. I slept many a night on his couch and ate great food from his mom's rice cooker. His mom was a lovely woman, and we ate well because of it. I've also, we have our friend Mike Imparato. For everybody who's watching, Mike will not be live with us today. As you know, Mike's son is suffering from cancer and is going through stem cell treatments and all kinds of stuff that we all keep him in our prayers. Mike, if you're out there, best plans, prayers for you and Michael, and I'm sure everything's going to work out with a little help from our friends upstairs and wherever. If you're not a praying person, send them some good vibes. If you're a blues musician or a New Orleans person, send them some good mojo. Whatever you do, just take a moment and say, kind word for my friend. Any rate, what else have we got? We also have the wonderful and talented Jeff Levine coming on. He has recorded with Joe Cocker, Buddy Miles, Bernard Purdy, Jeff Golb, John Eddy, the Chambers Brothers, Andy Pratt. He's been with Hall & Oates, Ray Charles. Anyway, Clarence Clemens is another one, and we'll be talking to him about his amazing career in music. He lives here in the area. For those of you who don't know, I live in Highlands, New Jersey, hence we are high in Highlands. It is not the Highlands. And that's it. We've got a great show for you. We have all kinds of stuff coming up. We have some announcements to make. We have a new sponsor, or I have a new sponsor, and Julie has one. We have Gone Country Hats. And we'll be having them on next week, probably. I think it'll be next week. You'll see me with a great new hat. Julie will also be sporting one. And we'll be kind of ready and talking about some of their artists. They have a great bunch of artists on their program, including Sam Rourke, who everybody who watches the show knows how much we love Sam. And that's about it. So let's talk to Julie. I'm calling from Highlands to Julie B. Good morning.
Good. Happy Friday morning, everybody. How are you?
Yes, I'm excellent. I couldn't be any better. I feel like it's Friday. I got my cajon ready.
I can hear it.
We can give comedic effect to certain guests or prank calls, or I could even do songs on it. You never know. It might be something to do.
You need some singers. Zing, whoosh, those sound effects. So I've got Mike standing by. He's ready to go and do his rants today. You want to listen to some of that?
Yeah, why not? Let's bring him on. Come on, Mike. Listen, he's not here in physical form, but he is here in spirit. And hopefully he's watching out there. You never know. The old boy might surprise us, and he's sitting there. They're waiting to start some treatment. So let's roll. This is Mike Ratman Imparato. Please, if you're a fan of his, come back and watch us. And let's
check
roll
out
it,
his
Julie.
website and stuff. Here we go.
Yes, check.
Hey guys, hope you guys are having a great Friday. I can't appear live today. We got some doctor's appointments at the hospital. But Julie and Neil should have some good rants. I gave them to, I don't know if she's going to show you the driving one or the relationship one, but Hope you enjoy it and hope to be back live next week. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. Today's rant is basically for the men. I mean, the women need to hear this because it's all about relationships. So I'm laying last night, I'm pondering, why do men need to be in a relationship? Do we really need it? Yes. And when I get to the end of the rant, you'll know exactly why. Is it for companionship? No. Get a pet. Get a pet. Got all your companionship you need. Do you need somebody to cook for you? No. Go to your mother's house or an aunt's house or go out to eat. End of story. Do you need somebody to talk to? Do like I do. Talk to yourself. And if that doesn't work, get a parrot or a minor bird. Housekeeping. No. You can hire a maid, come in every other week and freaking clean your house for $80. End of story. You don't need a... Is it for friendship? No. Anybody out there, any person can get 5,000 friends on Facebook, because that's the limit. So anybody that wants can go out there and get 5,000 friends. Do you need a driver somewhere? Get Uber. So you don't need it for companionship. You don't need it for cooking. You don't need it for talking to somebody, housekeeping, friendship. You don't need a driver. Do you need it to have kids? No. Adopt. Go play with your nieces and nephews for the day and then drop them back off. Now, so what about sex? What about sex? Go on Tinder, any of those friggin', well, if you go on Tinder and one of those sites where all the people want us to just get laid. Now, so you say, well, if you don't need companionship, cooking, sex, somebody to talk to, housekeeping, friendship, or have kids, what the hell do you need to be in a relationship for? Since the caveman days, men have never been wrong, ever. We don't make mistakes. We're perfect. So for that reason, we need someone to blame. That's where the woman comes in. Everything we do that could possibly be wrong is their fault because we don't make mistakes. You know, and it used to be you screamed at them when you were driving with directions, but now you got the GPS to scream at. You don't need it for that. I tell my GPS to go fuck yourself all the time.
Oh my.
But now, that's it, because we've never been wrong. I've never made a mistake in my life, because I will find somebody to blame. And the person that you're going to blame is the one you're in a relationship with. That's their sole purpose. So you have somebody to blame for everything that goes wrong, because it's not our fault. Oh no, we're perfect. Never made a mistake. So that's why you'll see that really the main reason for being in a long-term relationship, or short-term for that matter, or even hanging out with somebody for the day, is because you're not making any mistakes. They did it. It's their fault. They don't even have to be in the same room as you. If you knock a soda over, it's their freaking fault. If you break something, if you drop a glass, it's their fault, not yours. So this way, now you know what a relationship is about. Now you know what marriage is going to be about. He don't need you for anything except blaming you for anything that he possibly does. So men, we know we've been right since the beginning of time. We know we'll never make a mistake. It will always be the woman's fault. End of rant. Alright, so today's rant, while I'm driving, is about assholes on the road. I have an invention. One of you are going to invent it. I know I'm going to get shut out of the profits. So this is a legally binding contract. You invent my horn, we're partners, 50-50. So most assholes on the road today, they hear a horn honking, they don't know what they're doing wrong because they're that freaking stupid. So instead of having just one horn button, I'm going to have like 10. Example, press number 1. Yo, asshole, take this stupid freaking hat off and pay attention. Okay, number 2. Moron, put that phone away before I shove it up your ass. Now they know, oh, the guy's talking about me. That's what the horn is all about. Number 3, you're too stupid looking to freaking drive. Get out. Get the freak out of the car. Number 4, hey, you asshole, you see the fire truck coming again? Get out of his freaking way. There's so many idiots on the road. Most of them have no idea what they're doing wrong. Number 5, you moron. The speed limit is a suggestion. It's not like you freaking can't go over by a mile. Get a move on here. Let's go. Number 6, idiot. The freaking directional's on the left side of the steering wheel. Use it or lose it, moron. It's just because we're surrounded by assholes. We know that. We know we're surrounded by assholes, and they don't know what they're doing wrong. So you got to get, and then you get those freaking people that are so freaking on top of their steering wheel, they're driving like this. No, go back home, put the shit away, and get out. Stop. It's just freaking retarded. So my horn, I'll have a selection for every freaking scenario that could possibly be. It's just that they're freaking dumb. They don't know how to drive. Oh, number 8. All right, should I sit down and have a fucking sandwich? Will you decide to slow and come to a complete stop to make your freaking right turn? You know, should I take a nap while you're doing this? We got a bunch of morons out here. It's freaking, they're assholes. So my horn is going to have scenarios for all the different idiots out there because they don't know what they're doing otherwise.
My gosh, here's one right now. Watch. You have to see.
All right, so now this here we go.
Oh.
You got this freaking Mercedes. It's about 30 freaking years old. And the other thing I'll tell you right now, if you pass a car and they got all the freaking hats lined up in the back window, they're automatically an asshole. There's one freaking hat right there, and okay, he's got the 10 and 2 on the wheel. Let me learn how to freaking drive. No, and another thing I'd like to invent is a freaking thing, a battering ram that comes out of the sides of my vehicle. So if you pass an idiot like that, bam, send him into the freaking woods. Done. Another asshole off the road. Because we're surrounded by assholes. So anyway, whoever's going to invent my horn with all the different scenarios, we're partners. Don't try and rip me off. End of rant.
Okay, we can't end the rant yet because I have to make a correction. You did not mean to say that the speed limit is just a suggestion.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, my gosh.
Speed limit signs are a suggestion. It's a suggested safe speed.
Oh, my gosh.
But, yeah, you got it. You know what we're dealing with here. It's bad. All right, end of rant.
Here we are at the base of the old bridge. It was washed out in 1990, forcing them to build a brand new bridge. We were very close to the spot where Bill Skeeto was hung back in December 3rd, 1864. We will go explore that spot shortly. We just wanted to show you the base of the bridge that forced them to cover up the hole with tons and tons of cement and rock.
Hi, I'm Trumpeter Greg Adams, and I'm live with Neve.
Can you send me if right now, hey, we've got someone on in England, buddy. Everybody, Julie, if you can talk for a minute, take me off air. I just have a caller from London that in my brain fart, I didn't get on, and so I need to get her on. Okay, how about it now? Can you hear
Oh
me?
yeah, now, yeah.
Now
Can you
I
hear me
hear you.
now?
Okay. Oh
Can you hear
yeah,
me now?
we're having not what we call technical fuck ups. This is
Damn!
it's just one of those funky
That
things
whole,
that happens.
that great rant too.
Oh man, I didn't get to hear a good rant.
No, here we go. Here we go. All right, let me start. All right, thanks, guys. Sorry. Okay. All right. So again, to Mike's story about driving. A few days ago, or a week ago, I was driving home and there was a secondary accident from a first one over on the right side, and there was one in the left lane. Just stopped there. It was very, very minor, but I'm in the left lane, and I pull up, and the car in front of me goes around, and everyone's going around, and there's an accident there in the left lane, right in front of me. Two people. I see the a driver's side door open, and somebody's leg is hanging out. And I'm like, so I pulled over to see if they were okay. And there was this poor woman and her two little service dogs are freaking out, and
Oh
she
geez.
bumped into this guy in a pickup truck. Guy never got out of the vehicle to check on her. He was fine. And she's just going, I can't believe you're the only one who stopped. They've been there for about 10, 15 minutes. There was no emergency vehicles. Not one person pulled over to see if they were okay. They just blew on past. So I'm totally with Mike. Yeah, so I'm totally with Mike about, the assholes on the road. They don't really care. It's all, and they'll cut you off and then flick you off and give you the finger for cutting you off. Yeah, so my end of my rant. No more tangents for me.
Well, I used to think that Tampa wasn't too bad compared to New Jersey or Los Angeles. And I have to say, Tampa, the last time I came back, was completely screwed. And Julie, I see you quizzically looking at my cryptic post. We have a lovely friend of ours who will be talking to us shortly. She's going to message me her info, and then you're going to send her an invite. She's a lovely horn player from over in England.
Oh,
and,
great.
She's had a better memory than I did on this one. Man, I'm a master of guest management. Just like I'm a master debater, excuse me.
That's right.
That's a hard word. You never know. You can really screw that up really easy and get in trouble. It's one of my specialties.
That's why they have those T-shirts.
Yeah. So everybody, it's 10:17. Jules, should we take a break or should we just roll through? Time for a break.
Yep. Let's go do a break.
We'll be right back, everybody. Live with Neve. Here you go.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Metz, and I'm on Live with Neve.
All right, everybody. How's it going? Here we are, live with Neve, Julie, and Neil here from Tampa.
It's pouring over me.
It is. It's pouring?
Yes. It's pouring, yeah.
Well, I'm kind of happy. We don't have any snow. It's colder than a witch's tit out there. However, no snow. Tide is high, but it doesn't look like it's flooding our wonderful seaside community at this point. I haven't been downtown this morning, so God only knows. So, lots of stuff going on in the world. Most of it we're going to ignore. I mean, really, another story of COVID, or another story about Trump's malfeasance, or another story about Joe Biden's walking dementia. All that crap means nothing to me. And you know why? Because we're here. You're on Live with Neve. So take all that crap, throw it out of your mind, open up your mind, and get ready for some glandular improvement. We're going to be doing some glandscaping this morning, which is one of our patented products. Can cure anything you have. If you have issues with your libido, backache, psoriasis, I don't know, whatever problems you've got, we have something to cure you.
Julie,
what's the matter?
We have Jose standing by.
Okay. Selena has just popped into the room, so I'm going to go ahead.
Oh, has she popped in? I sent her the invite, so I'm waiting to see her. But
okay, I see the invite now. Great. Okay, you just send it. She's coming to us from Wyndham, Norfolk. But in the meantime, I'm going to introduce slightly Jose here because he is the man, the myth, the legend, and I'm proud to have had him for a friend for a long time. Jose Blanco is a award-winning mastering engineer. He has over 30 years experience in the music industry, recording, mixing, mastering, business development, and studio management. He's a 2-time Grammy and 10-time Latin Grammy award-winning mastering engineer, including the Best Engineered Album in 2015, and he's had over 92 nominated projects in the past 20 years of his mastering career. He's also worked on numerous RIAA Platinum and Gold Award certifications, as well as other awards from other countries with artists of every genre and talent, record labels worldwide. At Blanco Mastering, so remember that, folks, www.blancomastering. The backstory to this is Jose was a friend of mine. We both went to Full Sail University in the 90s, the very early 90s. And since then, we've both been in the business. And I have to say before I have him on, if you weren't listening earlier, if Jose hadn't been my pal through school, I probably wouldn't have graduated because I spent an awful lot of time sleeping on his couch or eating rice from his mom's exceptional rice cooker, which he turned me on to that device, which is a wonderful thing. If you're a drummer, we have hard times with those tough concepts like cooking rice. So without further ado, Jose Blanco, award-winning mastering engineer and cool dude. Hey, man.
What's up, Neil? How you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent. It's excellent. You look the same as you did. I have to say, you haven't. You look good and healthy, and you're down there in the.
A few more pounds, but I'm still the same. I still got my hair, so.
Well, me too. I have most of it, so I feel pretty good. I'm a little more. I have a little more. I guess my expansion plan's well underway. We'll just say that. I guess what they call that these days is supposedly some of the women find us sexy because they call it a dad body, which to me just means I'm kind of old and getting a little paunchy in a few spots. I could probably use a few months on a Stairmaster, but I don't know. Staying alive in this crazy time. I mean, I do some exercise and stuff, but I've never been one for sitting in a room with beautiful people looking at my paunchy body struggling on a treadmill or on one of those runny things. To me, that looks like pure disaster. The thing you run on and it hauls ass and you're supposed to be able to. It'd be like I'd be one of those videos on YouTube. I'd be launched into some body's lap, passed out, So what have you been up to lately? I mean, it's been so long since we talked. I mean, there's been miles of aisles for you and me both.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while.
It's interesting, when people say things about Full Sail not being a great school, I always take offense. I go, you get out of it what you put into it. And if you go there and you really have that drive to succeed, you'll make it. It's not the school either. It's what some of the things that they teach us there about tenacity. A lot of those are just good character, points for people to have. But as we know, common sense and good character are not always hand in hand with the money. I remember you and I had a few friends or associates in class. One of them comes to mind in particular, who was kind of extremely rich, had his dad and mom would all, do you remember somebody who we kind of jokingly called him Richie Rich? And
I remember the name. Yeah,
you remember the game. We won't say any more other than I remember Bruce Marshall looking at him and going, yeah. He's always talking about buying this big studio in Philly, and I remember Bruce is like, "There's the reason this is on sale, dude." Yeah. That's the fact that he'd been recycled a couple times didn't give me a lot of faith in his mixing skills. If I recall, he snapped one of the Sting master tapes we were trying to engineer once when we were in a B room, and he fucked up. You remember it went, it was like, he just looked so stupid, and he had 2 chicks with him. I always tell that story because he came across as the kind of a guy who would fail at anything he does just because he was so obnoxious. He had not a humble bone in his body, and he acted like he was Robert Clearmountain when he had, his mixes were awful, and he didn't pay any attention. When we were in maintenance, he used to sit next to me. Now, I don't know if you recall, but I had to sit there and get a tutor in the hallway. I was having some problems with the math, which I did, and I ended up going from like midterm diving out. I got it up to a B at the end, and I felt good. But he'd sit next to me in that test, and he would write. I'd write my answer out, like a nice mathematical formula, and he'd write it, and then I'd take my pen and erase it, or my pencil, and I'd rewrite it and be like this. It would drive him crazy because I knew what he was doing. I kept like writing the wrong answers, and then I'd look at him and be like, I don't know. Sometimes you have to have a little tormenting of the week. I hate to say it, but that guy, he just something about his existence bugged me. He was always bragging about his money and his dad bought him a Rolex. I was just like, no, what, you don't need all that to work. You can leave the Rolex at home. Most of the time in a rock situation, I didn't bring a Rolex to my gig.
Yeah.
Goes hand in hand with, yeah, it's like Steve Gadd once said, you ask him, what should you do as an upcoming jazz musician? Well, never leave your wallet in the dressing room. That was his claim to fame. Well, I have to say, I've always followed that advice. But getting back to you, tell me when you got out of school, let's talk a little bit about the progression you made from school up to the time where you had your own mastering facility, and tell us about some of the people who helped you along the way.
Well, out of school, prior to going to Full Sail, I had done some internships at a local studio called Climax.
Right.
That is no longer around, but back then was one of the few studios that had a huge live room, and I was able to go in there at nights and do sort of a internship, if you would. And I met a few guys there from the local scene that were already engineering. That to this day are very good friends of mine. So fast forward, I went to Full Sail and then came back from Full Sail. And back then you couldn't get into a studio unless your dad owned it. The only way to get in is you had to do an internship. So
right.
I did one internship at a place called Midland that's no longer around. That was in Coral Gables here in Miami.
I remember that studio.
And I was there for about, I don't know, like 6 weeks or so. And then they didn't have a position available as an assistant. So I had to go to another studio called Studio Center. And
I recall all this history when you moved to Studio Center. We were still, in touch occasionally.
And as luck would have it, the day that I was interviewing for my internship, my second internship, one of the guys that I had met at Climax, his name is Caesar, and he's still engineering. He's an amazing engineer. Was walking in the door, and he's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm applying for an internship." He goes, "Hold on a second, let me talk to the owner, his name is Steve." And he walked in his office and said, "This is the guy you got to hire." So immediately, I was hired on the spot. That was like January of 1991. And I started interning there, and like February 8th, I want to say I started my first official assistant project.
Right.
From then on, I assisted for many years, became engineer, ended up managing Studio Center for a couple of years. I had left when I was freelance engineers, and then the owner, Steve, called me back because we developed a great relationship over the years, and he asked me to come back because they were going through a lot of troubles.
Right.
So I basically, rebuilt Studio Center again, and we did got it back on track as far as gear-wise and the team and all that stuff. That took about 2 years, and then I was asked by Joe Galdo, the president of South Beach Studios, who was a studio owned by Chris Blackwell.
Oh, right.
So they asked me to go over there to manage the studio because they were going through a lot of problems as well.
Right.
And
I recall at the end of his studio thing, those things were really weird. I've heard stories over the years.
Yeah, well, they had some great artists, though, as you can imagine. When I went in, Tom Lord Alge was the main guy there, mixing probably 9 months out of the year. So
right.
But the studio financially wasn't doing well, believe it or not. And so I went in there, shaped up the studio. We worked with everybody you can think of, man. I mean, Sting, those Stones, Kiss. I mean, you name it. We did it during those days because of Tom. Tom was bringing in, A-class caliber artist all the time, so it was one after the other one. It was amazing to work those 2 years there, and during that process I ended up mixing an album for an artist, and they asked me to go to New York to Sony Mastering Studios to oversee the mastering of that album. And while I was there, I met Sony's and one of the main engineers at Sony, Vlado Meller, who we became great friends. And I have to say, he's like my mentor who got me into mastering and helped me pave the road in all kinds of ways. He was an amazing guy. And his discography is just sick. I mean, 40 years of mastering anything and everything you can imagine, you know, from Pink Floyd all the way to, you know, to the latest hip hop artist.
Hey, can I get you to hold that thought for a minute? We got to go to a break, but this is a great conversation, and just hold that thought. We'll be right back. You're on Live with Neve. We're from high in the Highlands of New Jersey, overlooking beautiful New York and the Atlantic Ocean. We're going to rock out of here and be right back.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here. You're not, but maybe you are. Thank you. Live with Neve, coming right up.
And I'm here too. Hi, everybody. See you next time.
Okay, back to me. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Murata. Coming this fall, the Live with Neve show, featuring the one, the only, the inimitable Jerry Murata.
We keep that for the blooper reel. Try it one more time.
Here we are. No, that's I didn't.
That
wasn't a mistake.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Moranis.
Live with Neve, Fridays on the East Coast from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
All right, everybody. There's Ricky Murata horsing around. The backstory to that is I kept calling him Jerry. His brother Jerry's also a drummer. They look kind of similar. At any rate, for those of you who are just joining us, I have today Jose Blanco, my friend and great engineer, all-around cool guy. I would call him my roommate, but I was merely his couch mate a lot of times, driving from Florida, from Tampa to Orlando after gigs and so forth. We also have a lovely and talented singer from England. In the UK, we have Selena Hawker will be joining us. We're going to look forward to hearing her play a little music and talk about her career. The girl's got some chops, is all I can say, and we'll have her on in a minute. So without further ado, we're going to bring Jose back on. We were talking about his relationship going through Island Records with Chris Blackwell and some of the other people that met him. We're talking about your mentor, so let's get back into that a little bit, Jose.
Yeah, like I said, when I went to New York to master that album or oversee the mastering of the album, I met Vlado, who has been at Sony mastering for many, many years. Amazing guy. We hit it off, became really good friends, and through those next few years, kept staying in touch back and forth. The original idea was for him to move down to Florida and have a mastering studio for him, because Chris Blackwell owned so many hotels down in South Beach. The idea was to create a mastering studio on top of the Tides Hotel overlooking the ocean.
Oh, man, that'd be sweet.
That was the original plan, where Vlada would be the master engineer or the main mastering engineer, and I would be the backup to him and learn the ropes from him. But for whatever reason, the business plan never went forward at that time. So I decided to take it on my own, and I started what later became Master House Studios. It took me probably 4 or 5 years of planning and 18 attempts at an SBA loan through many, many banks in Florida. Finally got it, and I was able to start off. And it was truly 18 attempts. I'm not lying when I say that.
Right? No, I get it. It's that way in this biz. The fact that you had the persistence, and I always think if you don't have those experiences that kind of piss you off and say, "Hey, man, this is not going to stop me. Okay, I did this wrong. I'm going back," and you got to keep. It's perseverance in this biz more than a lot of business, because a lot of business, you just get the degree, you hop in, you got this job you kind of hate and very boring every day. But, in our business, there's always an opportunity to learn more the opportunity to play better. And I don't know about you, but there's nothing like the smell of a room with recording going on. I used to say there's nothing like the smell of tape in the morning, you know. I love opening a new box of 2-inch, you know, and you know, putting it back and forth, binding the tape, so to speak. And that smell would be so great, you know. Every time, whenever I smell it, it like takes me back to a time that has long passed since, you know, back when dinosaurs ruled the earth.
Yeah, those studio days were awesome.
Oh yeah, and you know, I still wish I had a 2-inch machine and the money to buy the tape for, you know, because you can have the best of both worlds. You know the drill. Fly that into, you know, Pro Tools and whatever, and just go at it. Who'd have thought, man, that we could sit and do what we're doing on a computer, and we could sit and like talk, and I could send you a mix from here, and you could do your voodoo and send it back to me 2 hours later and go, hey man, you know, I think this sounds pretty good. And it's like we live in a wondrous age. Do you remember Dana Rowan, I'm sure?
Yes.
Do you remember, what was his number one quote? Do you recall?
Oh, no, I don't recall that much.
Make sure when you hang that shit up, people could die. I always remembered and wish I had a sampler that just had him going, hey, people could die, you fuckers. You know, he's a funny guy. In fact, in his class, I was thinking about it this morning before I was thinking about you and our past, and you know, at school. And I was thinking how, I don't know about you, but I thought SR was a great class, and I learned a lot because I've been in a band my whole life. It just reinforced years of applied knowledge. And I thought I would just skate through it, but I know you remember we did our project and we had to build this. That was the hardest, most fucking drive us out of our mind. If I recall, we didn't sleep much for about a week. We were just always on that. And just, people don't understand, for those watching, what we were told to do. We had to design a stage. We had to design every box and every component, and it had to be loaded into 2 semis. And I know people out there who think, oh, you know, rock and roll, it's all about, you know, hot chicks, fast cars. Hey, I love it. I got a fast car and a hot chick. But, you know, it's just a whole different, you know, mindset. And, but so what was I going to say about those days?
Plus, there was no easy way around it. You had to figure out the math, and you had to do everything. There was no, you know, there was no internet or computers to
No, there was none of that. I remember us going crazy trying to get everything to load in. Like, we do it. For those of you who don't understand, you got to figure out the sound system. It's got to be a viable sound system. Got to have a viable plot and distribution system, lighting, the whole damn thing. And man, we went crazy trying to calculate how many par cans would fit in this one little bit of space. I mean, I'm sure now I'm sure the guys who do this, you know, professionally at Clare Brothers, they probably pop it all out and give the Stones their estimate in like a week at most, you know. But, you know, that was one of the more challenging things I thought during our time there. For me, that and maintenance were the 2 things that, all the other stuff, I felt like we just were romping through it. It was so much fun. And, you know, I don't know if you recall, but I recall the first day we were there and how weird it felt sitting in that room full of people. And then you think about how it's shrunk and shrunk. Like that first semester. Do you remember there was an architect who had gone there? She was a really hot chick. And she was sitting there that first day, and every guy in the room was looking at her. And when they asked us all what we had done, and she's like, "Well, I have a master's in architecture. I'm I'm an AI," and I was kind of like, "Wow." I thought she's going to come in here and just kick all of us guys' ass. This chick, even, you know, remember the culture was different. Everybody was a musician. You were one of the exceptions of someone who just dug sound and wanted to do it, if I recall. You didn't really have like a strong musical background. Do you play anything now?
No, still don't, man. I just do the engineering, man.
Well, that's cool. Hell, man. Hopefully, I'll have to have you work on some of my stuff one of these days. I'm always doing stuff, man. I'd love to have you. So talk about. Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm following the time. I have to really keep a short leash on myself. Yeah, I guess it's about time for another spot. So we're going to take a quick spot, and then we're going to talk about some of the people you've worked with and Maybe you have some entertaining stories, people either that you thought were going to be great, who turned a little weird. And you don't have to use the names, you can imply. Or if you just have a funny story that somebody wouldn't care about, because I know my life is full of really hysterical stories. And I would never want to hurt anybody, but at the same time, there's some funny stuff. And that's a lot of time what we do on the show is we just talk music and about people we like. It's meant to be a break from any kind of politics or any kind of COVID, any of that bullshit, man. You know, it's like somebody in our age group, roughly baby boomers, and they're smart children. Like my kids, I'm sure would enjoy that show. They'll tell you though, they're like, you know, we don't need to watch Dad's show. We had to put up with his bullshit for 18 years. And now, you know, now that they're grown up and, you know, they're all doing well. Both of my kids, one's a teacher and one is a nurse at Tampa General. They're both great kids. And I have a son who is about to turn 18, and you know, I just touched 6 feet. My son is about 6'4" the last time I saw him, and he may be 6'5" by now. They told me that when he was just a little enchilada, and I was like, no way, that kid. Nobody in my family. I was the tallest one in my family for probably 3 generations, you know, because in Italy they didn't eat real good back in the old days. Everybody, you know, was kind of smaller in stature, and I ended up being kind of this, I don't know, an American, you know, just a live, grain-fed American guy. And they were all like, I don't know where he got the height from. And my other family members, they're not particularly tall either. But at any rate, enough about me. We're going to go. We have a bunch of comments I'm going to read, and we'll be talking to Jose Blanco of Blanco Mastering. We'll be right back. It is...
Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my life.
Live with Neve, Fridays on the East Coast from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Hey, everybody. How we doing? We're continuing to talk with Jose Blanco. We're going to have one more segment, and then we're going to bring up our next guest, who will be the lovely Selena Hawker, and we'll be talking to her. I'll let her sing a little music for you, and we'll talk about her career. She's just a really lovely and talented person.
Yes,
hey,
and hey, and don't forget we have to be out by 11, so we're kind of crunching on time here.
Okay. All right. Well, we may have to do another 15. I know that that's not our usual thing, but
yeah, especially on Fridays training.
I know we don't want to let anybody go away unscathed.
All right. So who are we going to here?
We're going to Jose, and then we're going to bring up Selena at 11. All right. Here he is, Mr. Jose Blanco, my man in Miami. So what's going on, Jose? We were talking about just all the great artists you've worked with. Actually, start with a positive question. Who's your favorite artist you've worked with that you've just got a great relationship that you, you know, really found to be a great person and that you feel kindred spirit with?
Well, there's a few, man. There's you know how this is. It's like the more talent the artist has and the more fame, the nicer and the smoother the relationship is in the studio. And
right.
You know, most of the bigger artists that I worked with were really, really cool to work with. One of the things that I was lucky enough to do was a single for Aerosmith that Tom sent me when I was starting my mastering career. And it was a beautiful thing because he did of course, the mix came from him, which is already a huge plus. But when dealing with the artist, it was like, hey man, it sounds great. You know, we love what you did. All we need is for you to take the, you know, the guitar up version and copy paste that in the chorus and blah blah blah. You know, small little details, but they knew exactly what they wanted and how they wanted it done, you know. So it wasn't like a guessing game or you know, let's try this just for, you know, to see if it happens. You know, these guys knew exactly how they wanted it to sound from the get-go. And that was a good learning experience from that.
Right.
So as far as artists, I mean, all the bigger guys that I had a chance to work with, they were really cool to work with. I mean, I can't say otherwise. That's
excellent. Well, you know, I find the same thing that you said to be true. You know, the more professional and you know, the more people higher up, they work, they have it down. They don't go in there without a clear idea of what they want.
Right.
And, you know, that's always a great thing. In fact, you know, you've been in this biz. I found sometimes, you know, we all like when we're recording a band, it can be tempting to put our own stamp on it. but I still myself always, I try to help them where it needs it, to be a tiebreaker sometimes, or to make suggestions they might not have thought of collectively.
Right.
But, ultimately, if you have really great people, sometimes the best thing you can do is kind of stand back, make sure you capture it very articulate in a perfect, technical manner. And then be thinking, I know we were taught a long time ago to be thinking of the mix the whole time we're recording stuff. And I do that all the time. I mean, as soon as I start and I have like a rhythm track, I'm from that point on every bit of icing on the cake. Because, I feel like a lot of times just an acoustic guitar, a drum set, and a voice and a bass player can just be phenomenal. And depending on the type of music, recording, there's so many cool techniques to do.
Right.
I'm not afraid of doing 2-track live recording at all. I love doing it. It's a challenge, and it's a little harder to set up. But once you've got it, it can be magical if you, have the right players and they have a hand on their dynamics. Some bands that make it easy. Now, I was watching Lyle Lovett do a session with Leland Sklar and Waddy Wachtel and all those guys. And it was just such a great, the session was just so smooth, and they were playing it live. And it was like there was not a lot of editing getting done to this shit. There was no tweaking. Everything just sounded so good out of the box. My feeling was, you know what, just take it and mix it like it's supposed to sound. And I mean, we all know what a large band's supposed to sound with the height, the depth, the width. I know as the mastering engineer, that's that level of detail that you guys get into where you can enhance certain parts, or sometimes somebody's got a little bit of a clam and you got to take out some, low hertz information that's muddying it up. But it's kind of, I think to a lot of musicians, it's kind of a dark art. People don't know quite what you guys do. And, a lot of people do if they're at the top levels. But I know in the studio, most people, when you offer them to have some mastering done by, a professional house, they're like, how much is that? And when I tell them that, they're like, well, can't you do it yourself? And I'm like, well, I kind of can. And I kind of always try to think about the mastering process when I'm recording anyway. Like you said, when you get a really well done track by somebody who's got their shit together, you just go, wow, this will be fairly easy because it's all so tight already. It's like you said, a couple of fine points that somebody noticed in the band. And I'm pretty sure I have other friends who've worked with Aerosmith. Pretty sure, if Joe and Steve agree on something, they got it. They know what they're doing. And, it's just, I have a friend, Mark Hudson, who's written tunes for them. Incredible guy. He was with the Hudson brothers. His daughter is Kate Hudson. He used to be with Goldie Hawn.
Right.
An amazingly great and talented guy. And he's written stories. Actually, his concert's great because he sits up there and he tells a story about sleeping with Cher for a while. They had a relationship for a long time. And they had a pet name for her, Netherlands. And Steven Tyler kept hassling him, going, I know you used to date her. And I know there's a secret name. And his response was, I can't tell you that, man. Cher's still my friend. I'm not telling you that shit. It's private. And so apparently Stevie told him, well, do you want like 8 points or do you want 12 on the record? You got to tell me, man. And he's like really squeezed him. So he found this funny. So, of course, he tells this story at the gig during the show all the time. Well, we were sitting at the table with his wife, and she looked over at her girlfriend. She was like, if I have to hear another song about Cher's cooch again, I'm going to go out of my mind. And I just laughed like hell because Mark is so funny. But he said the same thing. He said, he told me that working with those guys, Joe Perry, he said, is an extremely quiet guy. And to get him to talk much is kind of hard. He said he didn't expect it. Like the first time he went up to, I think it was Jamie's Crying. Mm-hmm. He had the song, and he gets there to his house up in Boston or wherever it is, New Hampshire. He gets there, and Joe's kind of like real quiet and just, Steve will be by in a little bit. And they walked around. He's looking at all his guitars and his Grammys and his all this other shit on the wall. And then Steve shows up, and he's just the complete opposite. He comes in, he's like, yo, what's up, man? Let's rock and roll. He's like the complete opposite, just a complete spaz. Kind of like me, I'm just a fucking maniac. I have a good time, and I joke about it a lot. But it's like being a Labrador retriever. You keep throwing the tennis ball. I'm kind of happy. So getting back, what have you got coming up? Anything interesting on the heading your way that you're working on now or got coming up?
I've been working with a lot of independent guys, man. As you know, the labels are, not doing as well as they were before, and there's a lot more independent guys doing their own thing and putting out their own music. So, working with a lot of independent Latin artists, a lot of talented kids coming out. And I'm working on a kid called Simon Grossman, who's a great singer-songwriter, man. And that's what I'm doing. Actually, I'm doing that today. So.
Oh, good. I appreciate you coming on with us, and hopefully we'll have you back soon because we can just catch up and talk some more about some of the cool things in mastering.
Anytime, man. Yeah.
And who knows? I am going to be in Florida at some point. It's been so long. We'll have to hang out, and I look forward to it, buddy. It's been a long time.
Same here, man. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you, bro.
It is too. So listen, for everybody watching, Jose Blanco, mastering engineer. He can do it all, though, by the way. He can track your session, mix it, record it, and master it. So he's kind of a one-stop shop. BlancoMastering.com, everybody. Check out Jose. We're going to go to a break, and then we're going to have the lovely and talented Selena Hawker. And I'm going to check real quick. We may have another bit from our friend Mike Imparato. So you're high in the Highlands with Neve, and we'll see you soon. We're out of here.
Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my life.
Live with Neve, Fridays on the East Coast from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
All right. There's a little Leonard Cohen tune there from the Project Neve, Project Quiet and Under the Radar project. All right, we've got our buddy Irish McIyer. Here he is, man, the wild man himself. We can't wait to see him again on the show real soon. In the meantime, Julie, come on up here and let's talk for a second. Look at you. How you doing down there in Florida today? Gloomy, rainy day there? Oh, I don't hear you, Julz.
Now?
There you go. Now I hear you.
So, so there was like all this, all overhead when the show started. So I'm surprised you guys didn't hear all of that. It was just
I'm not hearing anything unusual.
It's not raining. It's not pounding any longer. But it's like it's been like that the last few days. So while you guys are getting your snow and everything, it's coming down here as just rain and stuff. So stop sending it this way, please.
Right. Well, today they said it was going to be warm. We're going to hit 36 in the New York area.
Wow.
It's lovely out there. This morning I went out, it was 24, and I had to go out and take the garbage out to the road. And it was like, I went out just in my shirt, and, I tried to toughen myself up to it. No pants. My neighbors are used to it. They're cool. They don't, they're used to me.
That's good. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, so it's great. Selena Hawker's up next.
Yes, she is. Let's bring her on.
She's a singer-songwriter, so let's bring her on.
Selena from the UK.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, Selena.
Can you hear me okay?
I do. Yes. We hear you very well.
Excellent. Oh, that's really good. Oh, it's so nice to be on here. I can't believe I'm in New York and Florida at the same time.
Hey, imagine.
Oh, yes.
Technology.
Isn't it great?
Yeah,
we love the technology, and you're sitting in. I imagine it's pretty cold over in the UK today, isn't it?
Well, to be honest, you were talking about snow, and actually, we did have snow a couple of days ago, but it's just all melted. And suddenly it's got up to 10 degrees, and I've no idea what that is, and I don't know. Yeah.
Yes. I would think that means it's somewhere in 30 or 40.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, Susan's cracking in here. By the way, you can't really see it right now, but behind me, here, I'll just show everybody a photo real quick. Oh, there you go. That is my new background, courtesy of Susan Fine. Susan, thank you very much for doing that. We're going to get right back here, get out of here. I had to give her a shout out. She did a great job, and I've been meaning to put it up for a while. She lives in New York looking over at Brooklyn, and that's a great picture. We love it.
I assume that was like your real background, obviously.
Oh, I wish. I wish it was. I have a pretty nice view, actually, of the city from here, but today it's so gray, and I have the ocean over here, which is gray and really cold looking. I think if you fell in the water here, it's probably about 45, and you would not have a long survival rate if you stayed in very long. It's crazy.
Yeah, I must admit, I like my hot weather, so yeah.
I'll bet. So tell us, Selena, what's going on? What are you up to these days musically? Tell us a little bit about your background and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. There's so much I could tell you about. So I started off as a classical singer. I was like trained in London at the sort of at the Royal Academy, and then I went to the Birmingham Conservatoire and University, and since then I've kind of really enjoyed actually writing my own music, and I tend to write sort of more pop R&B with a little bit of soul in it. And so I've just released a cover called Yellow, and then I've got one of my originals coming out on the 5th of March, and I've just got loads of stuff that I'm collaborating on with different people from all across the world at the minute.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's really fun actually, because I'm doing from electronic music with this guy in Austria to working on some more pop music with someone in California. Yeah, and then there's someone else that I'm doing some EDM with in Italy.
Nice.
So diverse, and I'm just doing that from my room here.
Good for you.
Excellent. So tell
fun.
me, do you have? Can you play some music today?
I can't sort of like do anything live because I hadn't really sort of planned to do anything, but
That's fine.
I think you've got some of my tracks, but
yes, I've enjoyed your tracks very much.
I'll come prepared next time.
That'll be fine. That's okay. I goofed. Sometimes I book the shows at 2 a.m. People are on the West Coast and they're just getting, to that time of day where they can relax and check their email. And I end up staying up till 2 or 3 a.m. So occasionally I make a goof and I put it on my pad by the bed. And sometimes, the best laid plans of mice and men. It happens.
Yeah.
So what instruments do you play?
My main instrument actually is violin. So yeah, and I used to play that in a band. I sort of do improvisations, although I started out classically. I do play a bit of piano, but my husband's a bit better than me, so sometimes he accompanies me. So I might drag him on to the next one, and maybe he can accompany me for something.
That would be good.
Do you play one of those electronic violins with the you know what I'm talking about with the
I do.
bodies?
Actually,
Cool.
my violin is a really old one. It's a proper antique wood one, and it's got like a really nice warm tone. But I have actually put an electric hookup on it, so I can plug it straight into my audio interface here, and it makes it easier for recording. Yeah,
acoustic electric. Anytime you can do that in one instrument, man, that's great.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I think it makes for a better tone personally.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's cool.
Well, I think when we have you back, we definitely want to do some music.
Right.
And it's okay. Next time we'll do it, we'll devote like a long break, and we'll actually have you play for one of the breaks if you'd like to, because we'd love to turn our audience onto it. And what I'll do is after we're done today, we'll put a little where people can find you and all that good kind of stuff. Because in the meantime, before we have you on, we'll make sure that we have a nice plan and lots of folks ready to see you, because I think when they hear you, they're going to be blown away.
Thank you. That'd be really lovely. No, I do really like singing live. I'm certainly not afraid to do that. So yeah, let's put something up, and I'll post it all over my socials and get loads of people there.
That would be wonderful. And let me ask you, how is it working with your husband together? I know some couples do it great. Some couples, I had to produce a friend of mine's album because he's a very skilled producer and just a talented guy. But when he was working with his wife, he was kind of like, Neil, help me. I was just there to be a tiebreaker because, sometimes it can get a little dicey. If some people, just depends on how amenable they are to someone, straying a little bit or having an idea.
To be honest, my main problem with him is that he's actually a doctor as his main job. So trying to actually get him to play the piano, that's my hardest job.
So he has like those two halves of his brain are like going at it, right?
Yeah, totally.
The right brain, the tasks and the doctor part and the versus.
Yeah,
the
I think he loves it. It helps him relax, I think. Yeah, he's always played a lot of piano, and then when he met me, we started sort of playing the classical songs together. And now I'm sort of getting to try and improvise a bit and come up with some riffs to go with my songs. So it's nice. Wonderful. I think it's brought us a bit closer, actually. So
that's great. That is good. Excellent. Well, when it works, it seems to work really good for some people. And
finding the right people is important.
In my case, I'd always end up with the kind of a girl who's like Amy Winehouse or something with my luck. Extremely talented, but it's a little rough to deal with occasionally.
I can be a little bit crazy myself, but maybe not on Amy's level.
Yes, let's hope not.
She's one of my idols, though. So I'm not going to say anything bad about Amy. I love her.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I didn't mean it at all in a bad sense. I love Amy very much, and I made that just... I have to poke fun because Amy was a lot of fun, and it's sad that, she succumbed to the pleasures of the road or of life some people have. And I'll just say to everybody, don't be a drunk, don't be a crazy, whacked out on drugs all the time person. Please help yourself, help your friends. Just don't do it.
No, I'm a bit more straight-laced.
Yes. Well, that's straight-laced. The older I get, the more. At this point, I have no reason to fear anything or anyone. And I don't know, when you get caught up in stuff, you never know what might come your way. It's far better to live life, quiet, comfortable life at home.
Yeah, no, I like all my fitness and healthy eating and stuff like that.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I like entertaining my neighbors with the drum kit, and that's my.
I bet they love it.
Oh, they do. Some don't. But I'm trying to educate them, so whatever I can do to help their musical tastes. Yesterday, I actually had some very loud Living Colour. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those band. They have a great song called Cult of Personality back in the 80s.
No.
And it just opens it up, and it's just such a great rock thing. It's like, it opens up, and it just kicks you right in the face, and I just love it. I remember watching them play it at a gig, and I was up above them looking down from behind. And they were just so incredible. This Wall of Voodoo, this guitar player, he's a guy in New York, Vernon Reed. He's just unbelievable. And it was one of the best times of my life. And so, for whatever reason, yesterday I was thinking of that concert, and I was just like, wow, the neighbors aren't home. I think it's time to turn on my subwoofer. And crank things up. Because even if my girl was home, she'd be like, can you fucking turn that down? Because I'm effectively deaf, and when she talks to me on the couch, I go, what? And then, I can still pick out the high, the fiddle part that's really up high. And it kind of comes through my deaf parts of my hearing. And I go, oh, it is there. Okay. Move your head a little bit and you can hear it.
We're going to have to do a collaboration sometime. I think with you doing some really crazy drumming and really going for the vocals.
Absolutely.
And my husband, obviously, on keyboard. I can't forget him.
Absolutely.
I'm in trouble.
We'll get Julie to play bass. We'll have a good time.
Let's do it. Yeah. We've got a band.
Absolutely.
That's so great. That's what we need to do is add a new segment.
Always.
To do a song, an impromptu song with our guests.
There might be a fascinating delay between the time zones and everything, which might be a bit weird, but
we did this with London last week. We did it with someone from over the pond, and it was a disastrous thing.
It wasn't that bad. No, it really wasn't. Oh, the plane, because there was like a half a second or 2 second lag or something, and it just Yeah, but keep trying. Anyways, so where can we find you on Spotify and all that good stuff? Where are you? Where do people find your music?
I'm pretty easy to find. So I'm Selena Hawker. It's just whether or not you can spell my name, but I don't know. Is it on the screen currently?
Yes,
I think
it is. It is Selena Hawker.
Literally, I think I'm the only Selena Hawker if you Google me, which is quite nice. It's like an unusual name. So look me up on Spotify. There's all my tracks on there. I'm obviously on like Twitter as @Selena Hawker and Instagram @Selena Hawker _. So I'm pretty easy to find, you know, and I will always reply to you and say hi and do collaborations if you're good enough, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
We can't be taking any hamburger in this place. Strictly steak and above.
Prime rib.
Or Delmonico. I'm going for either.
There you go.
Well, thinking of that, it's not Meatless Monday here. It is Fat Fill Up Friday.
I'm a vegetarian. Stop with the meat.
No, you're a vegetarian. I'm so sorry. Oh well, I have all kinds of good veggies. You're always welcome at our place here. You and your husband want to come to New York. We'll make sure to, we'll take good care of your your sensibilities. My daughter's a vegetarian, so I'm kind of used to it.
Oh, that's okay then.
and being a drummer, I don't care what it is. I just eat whatever's within reach of me. I may be a skinny guy or somewhat skinnier than I'm a little fatter than I used to be, but I still eat anything. It's on the table, I'm good to go. And on that note, everybody, it's Friday. We're out of here. It's Live with Neve. Bye to Selena. Bye-bye.
And we'll have Selena back on.
Yeah, have a lovely weekend.
We'll have you back on soon, Selena, and then we'll get you.
Totally, I'd love to. We'll be set up and ready to go.
Sounds great. All right, you guys, you have a good weekend.
Thanks very much.
Bye.